Hey, Phil.
Hey,
Here we
Jason,
go.
how are you?
Pretty good. Yeah, great presentation so far, and looking forward to keeping the momentum going here. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, appreciate all the great questions and interactions in the chat.
Yes.
Let me just double check. Oh, actually, yeah. Do you mind sharing your screen directly for this one?
Would that be better?
Yeah, some of the transitions didn't carry over.
Didn't work. All right. Okay.
Perfect. Well, excited to hand it over to you and tell us about Arrow Social today.
Great. I can't see anybody, but as long as you guys can see the presentation, that'll be great. So we are Arrow Social, and we are the Robin Hood of social media platforms. Over the course of this presentation, I will prove that. So the problem we've seen out there is that Facebook is basically taking our money and our content. So content creators have basically been robbed by these large social media platforms. They own all the content and they're basically taking all the money for themselves. These content creators have been doing all the heavy lifting and all the hard work, and they haven't been receiving any of the money. We've interviewed over 200 influencers, and they've all seen the same problem. We've actually even talked to Mr. Beast, and even he wants to make more money. 80% of them have even gotten more followers, but they've lost more money. So it's not all about the money, it is actually about the control. They've been kicked off, they've been removed, they've had their content blocked, and their videos have been removed from their content. So some of them aren't being even explained from the platforms that they're using. So what can we do? I'm Phil Simpkins, and Arrow Social has actually created a content that platform that is an app that gives you ownership of your content, and we are paying up to 75% to these influencers for their great content that they're creating. So we're giving back your control, and there's no bullying on our platform. We're following all the Apple rules, and we're actually giving you back this capability for this great content that you're creating. So, what is Arrow Social, and what do we do? We're doing all the same functions, all the same capabilities that all the other social platforms are doing, and we have direct messaging. So we are in beta. And what is our traction over the last 3 years? We've gone from 100 users to 1,300 beta users, and seeing that 1,300 growth over the years. We've had sales over that 3 years of $439,000 to see that same high growth. And so over this next year, we project to see 50K users. But how are we going to do that? So the model that we see is we need to have some education for these influencers. So it's just not going to happen overnight. We do have to train influencers, and we do have that a model for that education that kind of have a Udemy style of classes so that these content creators can teach a new generation. So in talking with Mr. Beast, it's about being more of a producer so that he can take these new content creators underneath his wing and be able to make a unified collaborative environment within the social arena on Arrow Social, and create that environment within there to make money in that arena. So then we're going to have step two to identify those content creators that have a high potential and be able to have fast growth so that we can create that arena for these new content creators. So then, number three, we have that collaborative environment where these new partnerships are created within Arro Social that when you get kicked off those other platforms, this is that high growth environment within Arro Social where these existing influencers can then grow and show the content that you're getting kicked off those other platforms. You can show on Arro Social and those collaborative environments. Within Arro Social, you have the 25% revenue growth that the influencers are having from their classes that these influencers are giving within that arena. There's content growth also from the content creators that they're giving to the influencers. It's a give and take within that environment. And then there are partnerships that each of these content creators are having with that environment so that there's no red tape and no exchanges within the social environment within Arro Social. Anything that's taken out of the environment then gets tapped into and the exchanges happen there. How do we do that? We also see within this market size, the social media is huge at 181 billion within the whole wide world of social media. The next region we see within the US, there's 24 billion YouTube arena, and our target market is college age Gen Zers at 2.2 billion. As we all know, the competition is fierce. Facebook isn't giving anything, so we see a lot of market that is not giving anything to the users, influencers. That is the problem. The other folks that we have see that influencers are paying or the users are paying, we don't like that market either. YouTube is the dominant force that is giving up to 50%, but they're not telling who, or they're focusing on just the high-end users. But we have seen a trend of short range followers in the market, and there is a lot of training going on, but they are also getting kicked off their platforms. So Arro Social wants to be the one that is paying the highest out and the most training. We will also see Steemit there, which is also an Ethereum platform. Arro then has its own Ethereum based cryptocurrency. Our go-to-market strategy is then to reach out to the influencers. As we've said, we have spoken with Mr. Beast and their agents. We also have connections within the university systems within Texas, as in UT. We've also have contacts within Texas A&M, and we have representatives within New Mexico and New Mexico State. We also have contracts within a national recruit to Duke because sports is all very prevalent in the college platforms. As part of the team, I am the CEO. I have 27 years of systems engineering experience building project management capabilities. Lev loves the code. He's been in the development arena, bringing mobile apps to the experience and also building other Ethereum-based products. Jeff has been in the investment arena for 10 years, working on securities. Obviously, Ethereum is not a security. Derek has been our head of sales, bringing in sales for the region. Jeff and I both have college-age children at home, focus on the Gen Zer capabilities. Our ask is when we do reach the 5,000 daily active users, we'd love to get involved with an angel round, and we do have the capability for equity, asking of 1.5 million to expand our capabilities with our product and our beta reach. We do have a QR code to go to our website where you can reach our beta platform if you're interested, and we're always open for questions if you have any additional questions. Thanks. Certainly welcome for any questions.
Yeah, great job. Yeah, looking forward to questions in the chat here. And yeah, as we're jumping in, can you go over the format of Arro Social and what the content looks like on the platform?
So do you want me to share again? I think the best way is to share number slide 3. Is that the best way for me to do it?
That sounds good.
Yeah. Let me share again. Sorry, I stopped sharing. So the format, let me scroll back to slide 3. So basically, it's very similar to Instagram that folks can share their posts. And then we are an Ethereum platform as far as the Arrow token. And then they earn their Arrow token. And part of the mechanism, you can see that kind of cogwheel. They can then earn their Arrow and go on to an existing exchange and exchange that Arrow token for whatever other cryptocurrency they want to. USDT is what it exchanges for on Dex Trade or Hotbit.
Great. And are you seeing the most traction in the user base from traditional social media or other blockchain social media platforms?
So most of our sorry, I can't see the question since I'm sharing my screen. Most of our users are coming from the social networks, right? They're mostly influencers that then want to bring their follower base up. But we are having some interest in, like, it's about 50-50, right? Coming from influencer based, but then also some interest in folks that like cryptocurrency.
Great. Yeah, can you go over, so what was it, the 75% that you're paying out, and how you're able to have that higher percentage than everybody else in the industry has?
So what we've seen in the industry is basically it's set by the social networks, and so ours is based strictly by percentages of views, right? So it's set by the owner of the content. So YouTube just set it, and that's what they're paying out. But the way that YouTube does it, from our understanding, um, is they kind of negotiated on basis, and talking with Mr. Beast. Uh, they coordinated on an individual basis. So we set our percentages, and then basically the influencer goes and gets their following and establish that. So it's based on each of the influencer platforms, based on the platform's establishment. So whenever we set our statistics, that's how the way it's going to run. So it's based on their models, and we want to make a fair establishment. So that's just the algorithm. That's the equations we set.
Okay, perfect. Um, and your first early adopters are using this in addition to their other platforms as a new stream, or instead of other platforms that they're on?
Yes, that's what we've seen. We've actually seen from Jimmy, which is Mr. Beast, that he's on YouTube, but he's also on TikTok. He's also on Instagram, right? That seems to be the trend, that they establish themselves on one main platform and then expand their audience to multiple platforms. Even though everything you read, right, YouTube owns all the content, but they're not going to stop Jimmy from expanding to other platforms, because that's their mainstay. But they will then stop newcomers. Like that's their limitation, right? Anybody that's now starting, they'll force the rules onto any newcomers, right? We're not going to do that. That's not fair to us, because you own your content. You can take it anytime. But YouTube's not going to take their high performers and put those same restrictions on them. They know better than that, because that's where they're making their money as well. And so they're not going to have those same restrictions on their high performers. And so they're not going to they're completely implementing their rules completely different, depending on who it is. And so they're basically doing unfair practices, depending on who it is, right? And that's completely wrong in the whole market, and we're not going to do that. That's why we're trying to make those fair practices all the way across the board to everybody that's on our platform.
Makes sense. We had a question. Yeah, could you go back and go over the team and kind of, the breakdown of who's involved with, being on your team at the moment?
Sure. So I'm the CEO. I have 27 years of systems engineering. I started in the government and lived through all that, learning basically. Systems engineering is basically requirements based, sending rockets. NASA is the first one to create systems engineering. If you're spending billions of dollars on a rocket, you want to make sure that it does its function and functions correctly. Right? That's where systems engineering was born. From that, usually the systems engineer is second in command, that you want to make sure everything functions correctly. So it's about project management and making sure projects go off flawlessly. Les has been doing coding for over 12 years. Working in mobile development. That's how we met on a project that basically contract orientation. It was car calmly, and we were kind of in the driving kind of basically mobile development, delivery type, but working on maintenance of your car, and then COVID hit, and everything shifted a little bit, and we weren't far enough along to get hit by Favor and a lot of those other ones, and so we went into social media, and then we went into the crypto arena. Jeff has been into investment for a while. Cryptocurrency is not a security. We went into our companies out of Wyoming, which was more favored for cryptocurrency, and so that's Jeff's been helping us out along the financial region, financial for cryptocurrency, and Derek's been a part of when Lev, Derek, and I all met on one of the other projects that we've been working on that helps with the contractual, which is part of the lesson plan development for basically lessons learned and creating some of our agent development, and how we met some of our influencers, creating our content, and when we met some of our influencers, and has been doing sales for us ever since.
Perfect. And yeah, on the right side.
Oh, that's my daughters.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. How are they involved?
Yeah. So they've always wanted to be influencers, right? That's when we went to South by Southwest a couple of years ago. They've been helping make connections with UTSA. So that it's a four-year institution, part of the UT Texas program here in Texas. So they've been part of the influencer, making sure that we connect with the Gen Z crowd, right? Testing everything that we say, and make sure it's like making sure Dad doesn't go way too off the rails, right?
Appreciate it. Cool. Yeah. Any other questions? Feel free to ask in the chat here. Let's see what else. Awesome. So yeah, who else are you looking to connect with, and yeah, who would be the people you're looking to meet over the next 6 months?
Oh, for us, we would love ideas and creativity, right? Um, we know what to do to get Apple approval, but Apple always seems to be changing their guidelines, right? We know the next steps. Um, and Android is fully approved. You can search for the links underneath Arrow Social. But Apple, it's a two-step process. Like we're all familiar with betas, but we're we're always uh, like that one step away from we project our Apple in, and then they go, oh well, here's this one next thing to do, and it's just that never ending process with Apple for their final step approval. um, and so it looks great with dealing with the front end of Gen Zers, and it's awesome with the coding capability, but we can always use more users and always getting great insight for the next generation. And funding's always fabulous and wonderful, and advice is always great.
Perfect. Yeah. And then what's the timeline on the joining, or I guess anybody can join the beta now, or
Yeah, so here's the link for our website. It is an invite with the beta, but both links are there, right? You have to download the Apple test flight and then just go back in and click the invite again, right? It's the same invite, but it's a two-step process instead of the one invite. But yeah, the beta is fully usable. Do the regular posts, and fully functional.
perfect. Yeah, great job today. And yeah, for everyone, on the platform, you can go to the Boost tab, hit the Arrow Social button, and enter and click interest and follow up with Phil here to discuss further, or use the QR code that he has up on the screen. So yeah, great job. We're gonna head over to our last and certainly not least presentation here in about a minute or so, with the AO planner. And yeah, really excited. Appreciate everybody sticking around, asking questions, and yeah, participating. Great job by all of our startup presentations so far. So yeah, Phil, great job. Excited to be, see all of your growth in the program, and excited for this to go from a beta to the next version and beyond, and create the next wave of social media here.
Great, thanks. Looking forward to it.
Thank you. All right, we'll see everyone in just about a minute on the next stage.